live. So I have
Để con xem máy Việt không?
live test of council meeting December the 16th, 2024.
Okay, good evening, everyone. ICT, can I ask you to please confirm that we have begun live streaming? Okay, thank you. Members, welcome to the remote meeting of the full council. Can I ask everyone to please mute your microphones at all times unless invited to speak by myself? Members, I would like to start by thanking you all for your very generous donations tonight to my charity of the year, Women's Aid Armagh and Down. Just last week, we came together as a community in Lurgan to remember the 24 women whose lives were tragically taken due to violence. It was a time to reflect, grieve, and to recommit to ending violence against women and girls. We could never have imagined that just 1 week later, we would be mourning another tragic loss of life, Karen Cummings from Banbridge, who was brutally murdered right here in our borough. This devastating loss has shaken us all to our core. Karen's death is a painful reminder of the urgent need to address the epidemic of violence against women and girls. My heart goes out to her family, friends, and all who loved her. Our borough stands with you all in your grief, and we will honour her memory by continuing to demand change. I will now ask Councillor Joy Ferguson to lead us in our tributes tonight to Karen, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Members, we meet again tonight after another tragedy in our borough where we see violence against women continuing in the most horrific of circumstances. So close to Christmas, the family of Karen Cummings are trying to make sense of the senseless. Karen was a mother, a nurse, a treasured daughter, a granddaughter, a young woman with her life ahead of her, and my sincere condolences to the McQuaid and Cummings family as they try to come to terms with what has happened. In particular, we send our thoughts and prayers to her children, Zara and Curtis. Karen is the 25th woman to be killed in Northern Ireland since 2020 and the 7th this year. This statistic is shocking, but behind that statistic are grieving families and friends trying to make sense of the indefensible. We all must renew our efforts to changing society in our political groups, our social groups, our workplaces, with the children we raise, teaching our girls to respect themselves and to demand better, and our sons to know and understand and see the value of respectful and consensual relationships. As public representatives, we must renew the Council's efforts in supporting the Executive Office's Ending Violence Against Women strategy, particularly as they begin to build capacity in communities to prevent this type of behaviour happening. Violence against women must stop. The Banbridge community is shocked to the core at this tragedy. Therefore, I would like to propose that we use Solitude Park in Banbridge for a candlelit vigil conducted by Women's Aid this Thursday at 6 p.m. to send a strong message of support to Karen's family and to bring the community together to say this type of behaviour is unacceptable. As a community, we will walk hand in hand to support her family and all those who have been impacted. I ask for your political support tonight to make this happen. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Next, I'm going to bring in Councillor Kevin Savage, please.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor, and I'd like to begin by seconding Councillor Ferguson's proposal for the vigil on Thursday evening. And I'd also like to convey my party sympathies to Karen's family and friends. I didn't know Karen, but I've spoken to some of her friends who are absolutely devastated by her senseless murder, and they'll simply never forget her. Lord Mayor, violence against women and girls is a shameful stain on our society. As Councillor Ferguson said, there are 7 have been murdered this year and a total of 25 since 2020. 33,000 incidents of domestic violence were reported to the police in 2023. These figures are truly shocking. Since the Executive launched its framework to end violence against women and girls in September, 3 more women have been murdered. We need to see this strategy deliver, and deliver quickly. Those who perpetrate violence and murder need dealt with. The full rigours of the law will need to be brought down upon them, and the justice system needs to step up and ensure that when women and girls are protected from those with a history of domestic violence, and that those who commit these crimes are taken to prison and kept in jail for a long time. So in conclusion, sorry, Lord Mayor, I hit the wrong button. In conclusion, I would like to re-emphasise our party and my sympathies to Kieran's family and friends at this very difficult time.
You, Councillor Savage. Next, I'm going to bring in Councillor Evans, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. It's heartbreaking that we're all wearing our Christmas jumpers tonight to raise money for your chosen charity this year, Women's Aid. And instead, we're raising awareness about the tragic death of Karen Cummings, another lady within our borough. Firstly, can I just take a wee minute to thank Councillor Craigavon Savage, who I know has been in contact with Karen's family to arrange a vigil for her in Banbridge. It's important that we as a council stand together and give support in any way we can. And also, thank you for speaking out on this tonight. Violence against women and girls has been raised numerous times in this chamber, and it's heartwarming to hear a male member of this council speak about such a serious and pressing matter. We know it's not all men, but we need those men to support us and speak out with us, so thank you. There isn't anything we can say in this chamber tonight to ease the pain Karen's family and friends are feeling this evening. So to Curtis and to Zara, I am truly sorry this is happening to you, and in the months ahead, I hope you find comfort in the stories that your mummy's friends will tell you, and in the coming months, and the love and the precious memories she has left with you both. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. Next, I'm going to bring in Councillor Wilson, please. Sir Ian Wilson.
Sorry, Lord Mayor, hit like Councillor Savage, hit the wrong button. Thank you for letting me in. Absolutely tragic circumstances of Kieran's murder this weekend, and my heartfelt sympathies goes out to Kieran and her entire family, and especially her two children who are facing a Christmas without their mum. Banbridge, as I know, is a very strong, close-knit community, and they will rally round to support our Kieran's family at this tragic time. And unfortunately, our borough is no stranger to violence against women and girls. It's a stain on our borough that we should not have to endure. And I echo the sentiments of previous speakers, and I think the vigil on Thursday night is a very, very good idea, that we can come out and show support for Kieran and her family. So thank you, Lord Mayor, for letting me in. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Next, can I bring in Councillor O'Hanlon, please?
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I want to add my condolences to the family and friends of Karen. And like others, I want to add my voice to the calls for anyone with information to come forward and assist police with their inquiries. We shouldn't be here, and we shouldn't have this message to relay. 7 women have lost their lives in Northern Ireland this year at the hands of men. And as already has been said, just 2 years ago, our chamber reflected the disgust and the heartbreak of our community at the death of Natalie McNally. Her family have kept her name alive in the meantime. They've sought to raise the profile of violence against women, and tonight we are here again. I've said in the chamber on a number of occasions, and will do so again tonight, we as the male leaders in our society must continue to raise the issue. We must continue to stand up and say no. We must protect our daughters, our sisters, our wives, our mothers, and all women in society. We must teach our sons, our brothers, and our friends that this is wrong, that it should not happen, and that real men, if there is such a term, stand up for women and say enough is enough. My heartfelt thoughts and prayers are with Karen's beautiful children this Christmas. For when many of us are laughing and enjoying the Christmas season, I'm sure all they'll want is mummy's hug.
Thank you, Councillor. And Alderman Greenfield, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and thank you for letting me in, Lord Mayor. Just also to express my condolences, thoughts and prayers for the family of Karen and another horrific incident in Banbridge at the weekend. It's just heartbreaking for them, and I suppose none of us really have words that we can bring with comfort. But Lord Mayor, to think back to a couple of years ago, as we mentioned there, and we met the McNally family and the vigil in Durgan Park, we really hoped that this would be an end. We've seen so many out supporting them, and we think of them and so many others, even that this brings it all back this time, Lord Mayor. And we just do think tonight, especially of the McNally family and others in our borough, who will have been thinking again of this as this awful incident has happened with Karen's family. And Lord Mayor, I would support Councillor Ferguson, Councillor Savage and others who have spoke tonight, and certainly I know they will be appreciated when things come through on Thursday night in Solitude Park. And we just thank you, Lord Mayor, for even bringing this tonight. And we do think that it is so important, the charity you've chosen this year. We hope you raise plenty for it, for this cause. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Greenfield. Members, there's no other hands up, and I already know the answer to this, but are we all agreed with Councillor Ferguson's proposal for the vigil?
Agreed.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Members, we have had another very tragic loss this month. We would like to express our deepest condolences to former Armagh DUP Councillor and Mayor Freda Donnelly on the recent death of her daughter Helen in Scotland. I would now like to ask Alderman Baxter to lead us in our tributes tonight, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And just as you have mentioned, it's a very sad day for Freda and for Noel and the family, who very tragically lost their daughter very suddenly the last week. So it was really just to put it on record as a former colleague and a friend here on our benches, just to pass on our condolences to Freda and Noel and the family, and to be assured of our prayers at this very, very difficult time. It's always nearly more difficult. It seems more poignant when it's coming up to Christmas too. So we really just wanted to put that on record tonight, just to let her know that we're thinking of her and we're thinking of the family. Thank you.
The Alderman. Next, I'm going to bring in Alderman Kennedy, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'd like to concur with those sentiments. Freda was a council colleague in the old Armagh Council. We've been on and I've known the Donnelly family quite a few years. So I'd like to pass on the sympathy of our group and to Freda and Noel and the wider family circle.
Thank you, Alderman Kennedy. Next, I'm going to bring in Councillor O'Hanlon, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and like others, I want to be associated with condolences to the Donnelly family. Freda was a long-serving councillor in Armagh and Lord Mayor. Noel and I were first elected together in the Old Crossmore ward in 2005, and I have to say they were probably two of the most decent people I ever met in local politics, and I know that same trait was down to the rest of the family. I didn't know Helen personally, but I know some of the others, and I have to say I was absolutely devastated whenever I heard the news. So I want to add my thoughts and prayers. And as Alderman Baxter says, it's difficult for parents to lose anyone, any son or daughter, but to lose them on the mouth of Christmas, it is absolutely tragic. So I want to assure Noel and Freda of our thoughts and prayers at this time.
Next, can I bring in Councillor Lavery, please?
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Just on behalf of my own party group, and just want to associate ourselves with those remarks and pass on our condolences to Freda, Noel and their wider family at this difficult time and the years ahead. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lavery. I don't see any other hands up. Members, before we move into apologies, I'm going to bring in our Chief Executive to provide an update on the chamber upgrade, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and good evening, members. And at the outset of the meeting, I would just like to take this opportunity to apologise to all members for the fact that tonight's meeting is being held completely in remote format. Members, you are aware that during the course of the month that we've had some problems with the operation of the discussion equipment in the chamber, which has led to some meetings having to be abandoned. And as was explained at those meetings, these faults were down to the failure of, on one occasion, a server, and on another, a software bug that caused the system to crash. Both of these issues were completely outside of our control within the council. As members know, the original discussion system that was installed in 2014 in the chamber was starting to fail and was needing an upgrade, as it was getting difficult to find replacement parts. And officers are confident that the new system will give an improved experience to members and to our online viewers. I think it's important that I also commend all of our officers from both the Democratic Services and the ICT teams who have been working tirelessly to make sure that the new system is operational as would be expected from the professional service that they provide. I can, or I would like to assure members that officers are working extremely closely with our provider as well as the suppliers to provide, to make sure that we identify and fix the fault and go through extensive testing of the system before our meetings resume at the start of January. And on that, we do want to test it extensively, members, and Ruth will be sending an email out to you tomorrow inviting you to participate in testing of the system. So, Lord Mayor, just in conclusion, can I thank members for their patience? I know many have been in contact with me, and I certainly understand the frustration that a lot of members have experienced during the month. And once again, just to apologise for that, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Chief Executive. I'm going to bring in Alderman Baxter, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And just to register our disappointment that, especially the full council meeting, when there's so many members and so many council staff and presenters that have to come through this meeting, is far from ideal. And to thank, I suppose, the IT staff and Democratic Services staff on council who worked very, very hard to get this up and running, and to try and iron out the problems in the chamber. But I was very disappointed that the company that we invested a lot of money in, after the problems we had at a couple of committees, didn't even see it necessary to come to the last meetings. And we've had to abandon 2 meetings now, and here we are tonight on Zoom. Very disappointed from them. So I just wanted to register that. I know they will be working hard now to, repair the reputational damage done. But I have to say, for a council of this size and for the professional organisation that it is, this is a hugely disappointing development. I suppose it goes back to that old adage. I don't know, the Chief Executive has said that the old system, was breaking down, but the old system, at least it worked. At least there were staff there who knew how it worked. So I think with this new system, and there was nobody there from the company, is a huge regret. And I think lessons need to be learned right across for this, because it's hugely disappointing sitting here tonight when we're all on Zoom and we're already hearing echoes in the chamber and people dropping off, and it's just far from ideal. So we're not happy about it. We just wanted to register that with you tonight. But again, as I've said, to pay tribute to those staff who were trying their best for something that wasn't their fault. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Baxter. Next, I'm going to bring in Alderman Tinsley, please.
Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor. And I was actually going to bring this up when it came to my Environmental Services Committee, because I first of all want to commend our IT staff and Ruth, who on our Environmental Services Committee meeting were under tremendous pressure that evening, very stressed to try and get the system up and running again. And that stress and pressure was totally unfair, and they should never have been put into that situation on that evening. The council was fully aware of the issues with the new chamber system following past meetings. Number one, the full council meeting 3 weeks ago. We had major issues on that, and we still are not up and running again. We still have those same issues. And on that the evening before our Environmental Services Committee, we also had another committee which had to be adjourned. Whenever a company introduces a new system, it is the norm for staff from that supplier with the experience and the knowledge that they're there in person to ensure that any issues when a new system is being rolled out. That hasn't actually happened. And, on the evening of our Environmental Services Committee, the IT staff and Ruth tried on several occasions to get through to the company and didn't get through right away. And that again put extra pressure onto them. The whole process has just been totally unacceptable, and the system has cost an absolute fortune. And at present, it's not fit for purpose, as the Chief Executive has already told us. Officers on that evening put out a full agenda of reports for presenting, reports that took a lot of time to put together. And Environmental Services wasn't the only committee. Now these reports have to wait to the end of January before the decisions and the ratification can actually be made. And again, along with Alderman Baxter, I want to register my disappointment. And through you, Madam Lord Mayor, I would ask the Chief Executive as to when is the company actually coming over to address these concerns in person, and can he actually confirm that we have not paid any of the money towards this, the cost of this system, and that we won't be until this system is actually fully functioning. Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Tinsley. I'll pass this on to our Chief Executive.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and I certainly acknowledge the points that both Alderman Tinsley and Alderman Baxter have made, both in terms of their frustration and also to do with the staff. It's a local firm that is being used, and they have been in with council officers since and are working hard both on software and any physical upgrades that are required, and patches and changes to the software. That is now in the process of being tested. With regard to payment, no payment has been made, and no payment will be made until officers are satisfied that the system is operating the way that we would expect it to, Lord Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Chief Executive. I don't see any further lights on that item. So we're now into apologies. An apology has been received from Councillor Keith Ratcliffe. Can I ask if there's any more apologies? You just raise your hand. No, we're okay. Okay, then members, we're into our council minutes. And members, if you're willing to propose your seconds throughout the meeting, please just raise your hand and I'll bring you in. So 2.1, can I have a proposer and seconder that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 25th of November 2024 be taken as read and approved? They've proposed by Councillor Julie Flaherty and seconded by Councillor Kate Evans. Thank you, members. Are we all agreed? Well, Julie's having to say apologies. Councillor Flaherty should have brought you in there. Come on ahead.
I do have a small matter arising, Lord Mayor, if that's okay with you.
That's fine, yes.
Yeah, it's you'll not be surprised. C 376 2024. I just want to pay a little note to again, you'll not be surprised, Lord Mayor, Relaxed Christmas 2024, which I had raised in anticipation at the last council meeting. So if I may, I want to thank you initially, and I'll explain why to some of the other councillors. Some of you will know the background to this event, and I've been very open about this over the years. As you know, RJ couldn't get out to see Santa, so Santa came to see Jake before he did all his deliveries on Christmas Eve. We couldn't take Jake out to the usual traditional family photo shoots, as he was genuinely just so poorly. He couldn't be in crowds of people and hustle and bustle. So we did what we could to get a Christmas picture. No pictures with me, mind you, but sure, every mother knows that. This is why I get so emotional about this issue, that this event that ABC Council run. I genuinely, Lord Mayor, can't tell you what this event means to me. Can I just say this to B&L Productions, Goal Line Youth Trust, Maxine in particular, Merry Christmas as she's known now, and our ABC team in the background. A huge thank you. It really was spectacular. It's so special. And I know that all of the above literally put blood, sweat, tears, heart and soul into this event because it means so much for the families. I really can't tell you, Lord Mayor, what it's like for me to get so many messages and pictures from families about this event. I'm sure you've heard the same over the last fortnight and seen the beautiful family photographs all over social media about this event. It really is magical. Literally, Lord Mayor, we have actual Santa. It's that important to him too. This event really makes my Christmas. So thank you, Lord Mayor, for inviting me along to a preview, which I think did us all good. And also to our Deputy Lord Mayor, Kyle Savage, there for dropping by with me during the week. It's important that we do drop in and support these events. I know other councillors did drop in as the event continued. And as I've always said, it's just so important that other councillors see this for themselves. I look forward to a debrief in January, officers. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for this. And let's get working in the new year on how we move this forward next Christmas. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor, and I would absolutely concur with those comments. It was without a doubt one of the highlights of my mayoral year so far, and a huge thank you to all of those who have played a part in creating the magic out in Blair. Thank you. Alderman Greenfield, please, I'd like to bring you in. Oh, sorry, Councillor Her first, apologies.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, thank you. The other day I actually called in myself to see what it was about, and it's a great experience, unbelievable experience for us. And definitely, I think we don't preach it enough that how good it is. I think our comms team need to do a wee bit more on it to promote it as in how good it is, because it's unbelievable experience for. So I think next year a wee bit more pushing that there would be very good. But well done to all the staff and who were involved in that there, and it was definitely it's worth going to see if anybody hasn't seen it before. Any of the councillors, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Next, I'm going to bring in Alderman Greenfield, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'm not sure, like Councillor Harrigan them before. No, I'm only joking, Peter. I'm only joking. Just Lord Mayor to say, I'm sure I agree with you. It was a highlight, for me personally in my year. I'd heard Councillor Flaherty talking about it from her year and previous, and certainly it is something, and I think we said it before many times, that it's so appreciated, and certainly everyone should take a moment at some stage when they can. I know one's busy, just to come and visit, because it's something we really want to make sure it's really secured in our Christmas events, and I think it's the one thing that everyone now really knows it. So again, thank you to all the staff and all who took part this year. For, as usual, the feedback was fantastic, and I know it meant a lot to a lot of people. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Greenfield. I don't see any more lights on, members, so we all agree to adopt the decisions. Give me a wee nod. Okay, brilliant, thank you. Members, that brings us on to our declarations of interest. Can we agree to take these as the meeting progresses, unless anyone has a burning desire to do so now? Councillor Hanlon.
Yeah, thank you, Lord Mayor. Just for the presentation from the Northern Ireland Fire and Rescue Service. I'm a non-executive director and board member, so when the presentation is taking place, I'll absent myself from the meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Hanlon. We're going to make a note of that. So members, that brings me on then to item 4, and I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Declan Rogers, who is Group Commander of Operations in the ANI Fire Service, to the meeting this evening.
Thank you very much indeed. I would just like to hopefully spend 10 minutes, try and take up as little of your time as possible, looking at our new community risk management plan, which is currently live on our website. The public consultation closes on the 9th of January. So I'm just going to share my screen, and hopefully we had a few challenges earlier. This works okay. Can I just check you can see that okay?
Great, yeah.
Perfect, yes. So so with further ado, again, I think I've been introduced, Declan Rogers. I'm currently a group commander in Northern Area Command, so I probably cover everywhere from Glengormley to Rathlin Island, so I don't know a lot of the faces here. So the purpose why we're here today is that the Deputy Chief Fire Officer, myself and one of our directors, we presented to the NILGA Executive Committee on the 11th of October, probably an extended version of this presentation. And that NILGA committee requested that the fire service, we reach out individually across all councils separately, just so we would engage and give them the chance to sort of ask questions separately. So the NILGA chief executive, Alison Allen, she emailed out to all chief executives with that specific ask. And the fire service as well, we're reaching out to our PCSP groups and our community planning groups as well, just to try and get as much coverage as we can. So this really is a very short, concise presentation to raise awareness of our public consultation, so that to give everyone here, the chance to have their say, because it's really important that, at this first stage, everyone, gets the chance to raise their concerns. So I'm just going to start off by playing our video. It's a very short 1-minute video, which is currently on our website at the moment. Thank you.
We work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year to keep everyone in Northern Ireland safe.
We want to provide the best possible service to meet the changing needs of our community. We have a plan to make our fire and rescue service more effective and efficient.
We will ensure that the right people with the right skills are in the right place at the right time. You can have your say in how we enhance community safety.
Your opinion matters to us. Help us shape the future of your fire and rescue service.
Have your say today.
So I think the first question is, what's the background to why are we here now with our community risk management plan, which I'll abbreviate to CRMP. So prior to this, we had an IRMP, which is an integrated risk management plan, which we use to inform our strategic operational resource deployment. And our most recent IRMP was 2017 to 21, and that is now closed. So there was an independent review carried out of the IRMP. It's been replaced now by the CRMP. This is underpinned by current guidance and advice from two main bodies that we were really closely aligned to. First body is the UK Fire Standards Board, and they've been set up to oversee the development and maintenance of professional standards across all fire and rescue services. The Fire Standards Boards, they list expected outcomes from the use of a CRMP for fire and rescue services in England. And these outcomes then have been adapted to meet our NIFRS, or statutory legislation. Second body, the National Fire Chiefs Councils, they actually have set guidance for the consistent development of CRMPs across all of the fire sector. They are an independent membership association, and if you like, they are the professional voice of UK fire and rescue services. And it's probably important to note that there is no statutory requirement for Northern Ireland Fire and Rescue Service to have a CRMP, but we always follow best practice with what's happening in the UK. Some UK Fire and Rescue Services, they're in their third or fourth CRMP, so this is our first go, and we have learned from best practice and some of the sort of the mistakes, if you like, that they have made. And one goal, and I can't cover the whole document tonight, you will see that yourselves whenever you go online to look at it, but one of the goals and deliverables of CRMP is that we work with the Department of Health and development of a fire framework for Northern Ireland. So why it's important for us? So CRMP, it sets a direction, or it's like a blueprint roadmap for our improvement over the next 5 years. CRMP, it'll ensure that we continue to keep people safe. It demonstrates that our commitment to improving our operational efficiency and our effectiveness. It sets out in detail what we're going to do over the next 5 years, the work that we're going to carry out, steps we're going to take to respond and prevent emergencies arising in the first place. It's fundamental to the community risk management plan is that word risk, and I will touch on risk later in the presentation, but understanding our risk really helps us work out where we need our staff and resources so we can respond to high risk incidents and plan how we deliver our vital and our protection and prevention services, because response is really important, but the prevention and protection aspects of what we do is really important as well. CRMP will help us prioritize how we spend our budget. So we're like all organizations, we have a set amount of money to spend on our staff, our equipment, our resources. So whenever we're deciding how we want to tackle our risk, the demand for our services and the vulnerability across Northern Ireland, we have to think about how we're going to spend our budget to make sure that we as an organization, we put our resources in the most effective locations, so that then has the most positive impact, if you like, on our communities across Northern Ireland. So our community risk management plan will help us to do that. So in developing our CRMP, we have reviewed a lot of our business, and we have engaged with our management to establish a 5-year strategic focus.
We have reviewed our mission, our purpose, values and outcomes. We've got 6 new strategic outcomes, all of which again you can detail within the public consultation. We have aligned ourselves as closely as possible to the draft programme for government. We have carried out external research via the National Fire Chiefs Councils, and we've benchmarked ourselves against the other UK fire and rescue services who have said they are now on their 3rd or 5th CRMP. We've looked at and carried out horizon scanning in terms of emergent risk areas. And as I said, I'll touch on risk a little bit more in a couple of slides' time. We have captured a lot of internal and external audit recommendations and built it into this CRMP 5-year plan. And most recent one there was His Majesty's Fire Service Inspectorate report in 2023, which clearly said that Northern Ireland Fire and Rescue Service should have a community risk management plan aligned to the rest of the UK. We have also purchased and implemented new risk modelling software, which is really exciting, that we can model our response across Northern Ireland. We also have developed a strategic assessment of risk to help us understand our demand, our risk, and how it affects our community. And that strategic assessment of risk is fundamental to this community risk management plan. So, and I'm only going to touch on some of the key sections because you will have picked them up yourselves, but key sections within the document. And I suppose now is a point, it's a good time to say, when you go onto our website, it's right on the front page of our website, across the middle of the first page. You can access the full 79-page document, but you will initially land on, if you like, the highlight section. So, but within that full document, it details what our establishment and our purpose is and what our legislative environment is. So we really are aligned to 3 main pieces of statutory legislation. It talks about our oversight and accountability arrangements. So we are a non-departmental public body. We are accountable to the Department of Health. So the Minister of Health is answerable for us in the Assembly. It looks at our vision, purpose, values, and our new strategic outcomes. It details what our current resources are as an organisation, and our organisational and operational composition. So how we're sort of currently divided up, if you like, across Northern Ireland. The public consultation that looks at our planning basis, which I've kind of mentioned earlier. It looks at our demand, our risk, which is fundamental to us, and the vulnerability across Northern Ireland. It looks at our community, which is really important: geography, population, demographics, deprivation, etc. And it looks at our 5-year strategic focus, and we've linked our outcome statements to our deliverables. So each of our strategic outcomes has got a list of deliverables that we want to deliver over the next 5 years. So understanding our risk, and again, is fundamental to us. So we have developed a strategic assessment of risk document, and that will be updated on an annual basis, looking at our foreseeable risks to the community, ensuring that they are considered. Our SAR document, as we refer to it, it's an internal document, reflects risk, activity, and demand across Northern Ireland. It'll help us inform the CRMP and all the linked projects within the next 5-year plan, so that risk is ultimately fundamental and the foundation of what we're going to do. So I suppose initially we will identify all the known hazards in our community. We've looked at national risks, local risks, emerging risks. We have looked at potential hazardous events, and we assess then the level of risk of each of these. This ensures then that our plan, our policy, and our decision making is aligned and driven by risk, essentially. So hazards can include, I suppose, different things, different types of buildings in Northern Ireland, transport infrastructure, floodplains, forest areas. And then what we're going to do is assess the likelihood of different hazardous events occurring in each of these areas, for example, flooding, collisions, fires, etc. So we then collect both internal and external data to allow us to assess the risk against each of these hazards. We look at our own incident data, which we can stretch back to 5-10 years further. It's a real good source of information that we can analyse in detail, and understand the different types of emergencies that we're going to across Northern Ireland, where they've occurred, any causal factors, or what was involved in the incident and the associated consequences. So what was the consequence of those incidents? Was it a fatality? Was it a death? Was it a serious injury? Was it damage to property, etc., etc.? So our strategic assessment of risk really looks at this. We also then have used and will use census information, including population, age, health, other social demographic information to help us understand, who in our communities across Northern Ireland is most at risk, from fires or all the risks that we've talked about. We look at other partner information, for example, our police colleagues and their RTC incident data. We look at risks through Northern Ireland mapping agreements we have with the Department of Environment, Agriculture, etc., etc. So all of this risk information helps us, if you like, build up layers of risk for Northern Ireland, helps us form a strategic assessment of risk, and understanding our risk then helps us look at where our resources can be applied across Northern Ireland. And it helps us then prepare for and inform this community risk management plan. So risk is so important. Understanding of community risk is so important to us. So what do we need to do? We know we have to do a lot of things differently over the next 5 years. We know we need to look at things. For example, we need to look at our service delivery model. And I suppose that's really important to a lot of people, understandably so, in that is our current service delivery model, or do we have the right resources in the right place at the right time across Northern Ireland? And in year 3 of our CRMP, we will look at our Red Fleet review and look at it and go, can we do this any better with the resources that we have? We know we have to improve our IT systems, probably like a lot of organisations. We need to strengthen our prevention and protection interventions, and that's really important to me. In that, we know we have a really strong response in Northern Ireland, but can we do our prevention and protection strategies better to support response? And that's really important aspect of this. We know we need to strengthen our emergency planning. We already have very strong emergency planning, but we need to look at it and can we improve that and make it stronger? Can we improve our resilience and risk information gathering processes? We know that we need to strengthen our support for our staff in terms of their guidance, their training, and other development opportunities, and strengthen our governance systems, etc. All of this, again, it's much more detailed within our community risk management plan. So how can councils help us? Why am I here today? So we're really here today to ask you to read the CRMP document and give us your feedback and do an online response. Again, there's a 79-page document. The highlight section's there where it gives the highlights within each of the sections. We would like councils to be an advocate of our CRMP. We'd like to share it with your colleagues, communities, your organisations that you work with, so that you can help us shape your fire and rescue service, because everyone's opinion matters to us. And I think it's really important to say that if you have issues or you have concerns or there's things that you would like to suggest, put them in the online consultation. All the responses will be collated in headquarters. And this is the first step of our CRMP journey. And I think that's why the Department of Health felt strongly that they wanted us to take this to a public consultation, because over the next 5 years, we will be coming back with further public consultations on issues like our service delivery model, like changes to our strategies across Northern Ireland. So this is the start of the process. So they felt it was important that we do this kind of introductory piece just to start this 5-year journey. So it takes about 15 minutes to complete. Online, there is about 11 questions. First 6 are about the public consultations, and then the questions 7 to 11 are on equality, human rights, and rural impact assessment. You can do it online, which is probably the easiest way to do it. You can also, online, it's quite easy to navigate to print off a hard copy. You can email it into the website, which is on the screen, or you can simply print it off, complete it in writing, and post it into us at our headquarters in Lisburn. So the public consultation closes on the 9th of January. So I suppose we're well into it now. It's getting in towards with Christmas, it's getting close to the end. And I think the computer, there we go, computer basically decided to not work. So listen, I'd like to thank Lord Mayor, councillors for squeezing us into your agenda tonight. I know it's difficult to get space in agendas, but this is just really an introduction to our CRMP, and we really would invite council to do a response individually or collectively. And I'm very happy to answer any questions if anyone has at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Declan, for your presentation. Members, have any comments, questions? You just raise your hand. No? Okay, there's not too many get off that easy, Declan.
Painless.
Declan, thank you very much for your time this evening. It was a very informative presentation and it's given us a great insight into the work that you do and the challenges that you face. At this point,
Brilliant.
I usually wish our presenter a safe journey home, but by the looks of it, you're already there.
Yes,
So
listen, thank you.
much.
Have a nice Christmas. Thank you very much.
Okay, members, we're going to move on then to committee minutes. I'm going to take us a bit slower than usual due to the remote nature of tonight. I don't want to miss anyone. So 5.1 is the minutes of the Governance, Resources and Strategy Committee. Councillor Haughey, are you happy to propose?
So proposed, Lord Mayor, thank you.
You, Councillor. Vice Chair, Councillor Ferguson, are you happy to second?
Happy to second, Lord Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, are we all agreed? Don't see any hands up. Okay, thank you. 5.2, minutes of the Environmental Services Committee meeting. Alderman Tinsley, are you happy to propose?
Happy to propose, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. Vice Chair, Councillor Evans, are you happy to second?
Happy to second, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Members, I don't see any hands up. Are we all agreed on that? Okay, thank you. 5.3 then, we have the minutes of the Planning Committee. Councillor Armstrong, are you happy to propose?
Happy to propose, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Vice Chair, Councillor Lavery, are you happy to second?
Happy to second, Lord Mayor, thank you.
Okay. I don't see any hands raised, members. Does that mean we're all agreed? Okay, thank you. Members, 5.4, we have the minutes of performance and audit. Councillor Mulholland, are you happy to propose?
Yes, Lord Mayor, happy to propose.
Thank you. And then Vice Chair Alderman Kennedy, are you happy to second?
Happy to second, Lord Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. Members, no hands raised. Are we all agreed? Great, we'll move on. Okay, then members, 5.5, we have minutes of community and wellbeing. Councillor Hockney, are you happy to propose?
Yes, Lord Mayor, yeah. Happy to propose.
Thank you. Vice Chair Councillor Peter Hare, are you happy to second?
Happy to second.
Oh. Okay, members, do we have any hands up? Okay, I thought I'd seen one now, that's fine. Are we all agreed to adopt those recommendations? Okay, thank you. Members, 5.6, we have the minutes of economic development. Alderman Greenfield, are you happy to propose?
Happy to propose, Lord Mayor.
Brilliant, thank you. And then Vice Chair Councillor Jude Mallon, are you happy to second?
Happy to second, Lord Mayor.
That's great. Members, I don't see any hands up on that one. Are we all agreed to adopt? Great, thank you. Okay, members, that brings us then to our Chief Executive's report, and 6.1, Ruth is going to take us through this one.
Thank you, Chair. Members, good evening. The Community Development Department has been responsible for working alongside the Department of Justice to manage the interfaces programme in our borough. Historically, there have been 3 interface sites that we've been engaged in working on to reach consensus with local residents regarding either them being conditioned as security structures through removal, replacement or re-imaging. We can now advise that positive progress has been made with the Water Street structure. Acquisition of the properties in Water Street by a private developer has provided the opportunity to consider removal of the structure as an inherent part of the planned regeneration of properties in the street. Engagement has taken place with local community representatives and all are in favour of the removal being progressed accordingly. The department have communicated to us in writing that the option exists for the 2 small fences on council land to be retained. The fencing is in good condition and is appropriate to a non-security related function. Adoption would necessitate the exploration of a transfer of ownership of the fences from the Department of Justice to Council. So we are asking for a decision, members, that you approve officers to enter into without prejudice discussions with the Department of Justice to explore adoption of the 2 palisade fences and low wall on council land as outlined in the report and transfer of legal ownership to Council subject to legal due diligence.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. I have someone looking to come in. I'm not quite sure who it is. Thompson. Can you unmute, please? Okay, we'll maybe go back to that member.
Can you hear me now, Lord Mayor? It's Councillor Duffy.
Oh, yes.
Yes, no, happy to propose that. I just want to put on record my thanks to Ruth, Alison, and in particular Randy Abraham for all the work they've done in round these peace walls and the meetings with all the community in it. And a particular thanks to all the communities from both sides who have engaged meaningfully this last lack of years. I know the Department of Justice have strung them along a bit there, but hopefully when they re-engage this time, they'll be a lot more determined to listen to the communities and what the communities want. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Duffy. Next, I'm going to bring in Councillor Flaherty, please.
Yes, thank you, Lord Mayor. Yes, happy to firstly concur with Councillor Duffy and also to second the proposal. I'll let my colleague there in see another hand up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Next, I'm going to bring in Councillor McElrath, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Listen, good to see this moving forward as well, and it's an exciting development for this part of Portadown that's planned, and concur with comments that already have been made. Just one point of clarity for moving forward. Maybe it was just me, but I seem to be brought into the process quite late in the discussions, and there are one or two other groups that may have been party to this discussion that should have been involved at an earlier stage. So it's just maybe a wee learning process as we move forward. Absolutely no issue with the project, and it's an exciting project, but let's remember those peace walls are there for a reason, and when they come down, which we all support moving forward, when they do come down, we need to make sure that all parties are engaged on each side of the community. So it's just a wee bit of reflection moving forward. A really good discussion with Anna from the DOJ. I think maybe Councillor Flaherty was on that day as well. But just a point for moving forward, Lord Mayor, that we make sure when we move into these discussions on the peace walls and the peace lines that all parties are brought into the discussion and all communities. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you. And we'll make a note. Okay, members, that's been proposed and seconded, and I don't have any other hands up. So we'll move to 6.2 then, and Caroline is going to take us through this one, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and good evening, members. Item 6.2 is an update item for information relating to the ongoing consultation period with regard to the listing of Marlborough House. So since the last update, members, officers have met with HED colleagues, have secured a further extension to the consultation period to facilitate us securing appropriate expertise to make a fulsome response to the consultation. In the meantime, we have been granted a delegation rights to attend a meeting with our Minister for Finance and our Minister for Communities, and that is scheduled for the 21st of January this year. Members will note that there are up to 5 delegates permitted with this delegation, as the decision had already been Lord Mayor, Chief Exec and Chair of Planning in attendance. So happy to take any questions therein. Thank you.
I'm going to bring in Councillor Armstrong first, please.
Yeah, thank you, Lord Mayor, and thank you, Caroline, for the report. Yeah, I know it's not a decision item, but I'm happy enough that the appropriate officer does attend. My understanding that would leave an additional space, and I would propose that Alderman Wilson would accompany along with that delegation. I know he's been involved in this from the very start. I think that his expertise, especially on the planning committee, will be thoroughly needed with this delegation. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. Next, I'm going to bring in Alderman Greenfield.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and Lord Mayor, I'd just like to second Councillor Armstrong's proposal. I know Alderman Wilson has been involved in this. I did attend a meeting in Marlborough House with himself and Councillor McGrath previously, so I think it'd be appropriate if he was able to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Members, are we all agreed with that? Okay, I don't see any hands up. Okay, so that then brings us to our schedule of correspondence. Members, are we happy to note items 7.1 to 7.4? I'm going to bring in Councillor Ferguson, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. It's agenda item 7.4, please, the response from the Minister for Finance. It's disappointing to see the majority of this letter is educating members on the maths of rates calculation. 1/3 of the letter points out that property valuations are different in all areas and do not result in the final amount paid by businesses. This is something that I'm sure every member in this chamber understands. The poundage is the common denominator to ensure a baseline comparison, and the property valuation is specific by location, reflects the market conditions of that area, typically based on the economic success of certain areas over others, therefore proportional to location. Secondly, the letter states that the executive cut or froze the poundage. This was largely due to COVID and is not a long-term offering for businesses to encourage investment, but rather a response to an emergency, which was necessary due to the forced closure of businesses during this pandemic. Thirdly, it's really disappointing to see that the overall focus of the letter is it's up to council. This wasn't the ask. Around 79% of councils' incomes in Northern Ireland comes from rates, and we are highly dependent on it to deliver our services. The executive's proportion is much less, and they have the ability to vary rates and rates relief with less impact than councils. It is reassuring, though, to see that the Minister has been engaging with businesses across the borough, and good to see that there's short to medium term and longer term proposals with the executive. But decisions must be made on the targeted relief delivered to businesses that need it most. It's clear from our high streets that the relief is not reaching the businesses who really need it, and this message is lost in this response. The £275 million rates relief mentioned in the letter is still delivered to the biggest recipients, that being vacant properties, exemptions such as churches, charities and larger industry. And the 75% rates relief that was provided to Northern Ireland through the Barnett formula was never received by businesses. Where is the support for smaller high street businesses? So, Lord Mayor, this response doesn't cover or answer our motion. Therefore, I would propose that a follow-up letter is written to the Finance Minister, specifically asking for a targeted, fair and equitable rates relief for small businesses, rural and urban, and hospitality, to be included in her proposals and to respond to us when she has the information. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. I'm going to bring in Councillor Lavery, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Just happy to second that proposal from Councillor Ferguson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Members, are we all agreed? Okay, and are we all agreed with 7.1 to 7.4? Great, thank you. Okay, members, that brings us on then to 8.1 to 8.3. Can I get a proposer and seconder to agree and sign and seal all the legal documents, please? Proposed by Councillor Evans, thank you. And then seconded by, someone just raise your hand, please. Alderman Burns, please. Thank you very much. Okay, members, that brings us on then to our notices of motion, 9.1. And I'm going to bring in Alderman Moutry to take us through the first one, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. VE Day on the 8th of May 1945 was long waited for by the nation. While it was a joyous time for many millions, it was a sad time for many more. Great sacrifices were made to protect our freedoms at that time. It is fitting and appropriate that we remember what happened and the cost that many incurred from all backgrounds in our society. So to that end, I propose the following motion: that this council establishes a task and finish working group to plan and prepare to mark the momentous VE Day 80th anniversary on May the 8th, 2025. As a council, we recognise the significant sacrifice of millions of Allied troops who gave their lives in the cause of freedom. and we commit to ensuring their achievements are recognised in an appropriate way. We further propose that Council follow the official VE Day 80 programme as far as practically possible, and that officers would bring a report to a working group with associated costings for further consideration. I so propose. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you. I'm now going to pass to Councillor McElrath then, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. As the Veterans Champion for this area, I'm delighted to be able to second this motion and want to thank my colleague, Alderman Moutry, for bringing it forward this evening. VE Day is not just cause to look backwards and to celebrate the defeat of tyranny. There's also a poignant reminder that our way of life and our democracy have been and continue to be secured by the brave and selfless actions of so many. I have no doubt that amid the joyous scenes on the 8th of May 1945, there were mothers, wives, sons and daughters still worried about loved ones serving abroad and still away from home. For others, it would have been a bittersweet given the ultimate sacrifice made by many men from this area in almost 5 years of war. Back in May 1945, the Portadown News described the scenes in Portadown on VE Day as follows. In the morning, several thousand attended the open-air service at the War Memorial and later were entertained by bands from town and country. Drumming parties also participated. In the evening, services of thanksgiving were held in churches in the town. Towards dusk, bonfires were blazing at a number of points and rockets were exploding in all directions. It's absolutely right that we harness that same community spirit throughout the borough in 2025. 75th anniversary celebrations were beset by the onset of COVID, but people across the borough still managed to join in the wartime spirit and decorate their homes to mark this significant date in the calendar. Just as those from different backgrounds and different religions came together to participate in the celebrations almost 80 years ago, next year's programme of events can and will be for everyone in our community. I look forward to working with other elected members to develop a programme of events that is befitting of this national milestone and provides opportunities for businesses, households and community organisations to play their part in reflecting on the contribution of those who endured so much at great cost to secure the freedoms that we enjoy today. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Next slide I have on then is Alderman Barr, please.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor. I concur with the two previous speakers. VE Day, the anniversary of next May, is a unique opportunity for us all to reflect on and commemorate the extraordinary sacrifices that were made during the Second World War. This historic occasion allows us to pay tribute not only to those who served on the front line, but those who played vital roles and pivotal roles at home in the war effort. It marked the end of unparalleled hardship, loss and resilience. I can remember a story my granny told me of going up to the hill in St. Patrick and watching the Luftwaffe bomb Belfast, bomb the heart out of Belfast. And that story goes right across our borough, even further. You know, it is our duty to ensure that these contributions are remembered and that the lessons of the Second World War are passed on to future generations. I do believe that if we engage with World War II veterans, their families and local communities, we can create events that are meaningful and respectful. And I urge the Council to support the motion, but I have a couple of questions, or just a wee question really, just on the impact of the working group in terms of what is the remit of the working group, the task and finish one, and will it only include VE Day 80 programme, or is it open to further information and further detail? Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Barr. Next, I'm going to bring in Deputy Mayor Craig Savage, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Lord Mayor, and I would reiterate everything Alderman Glenn Barr said there about this. You know, that we need to be looking at this going forward here, you know, and sort of happy to second everything he's been saying there on that. So
Next, I'm going to bring in then Councillor Lavery, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Suppose happy to support the sentiment of the motion. We'll see what comes out of the working group, but it's funny how things can be brought up from memory. I remember there was a working group, I think, for the 75th anniversary, and we attended a workshop involving the late Dr. Eamon Phoenix, who produced a number of materials at that time, and he had a way of communicating with such detail and clarity and breadth that I think all who attended that working group were pretty impressed, as well as the literature and things that Dr. Eamon Phoenix produced. I think at that time, and I think maybe it went online during COVID, as has been spoken, but I think it maybe involved some local schools as well. And I think, it would be appropriate potentially for a lot materials to get maybe a fuller showing as part of the whole working group process, because he did produce top quality stuff there for all the community, and as a tribute to the man himself, who was one of the preeminent local historians this area's ever produced. But thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Alderman Moutry. Alderman Barr had a question there. Can I bring you in to answer, please?
Yes, Lord Mayor. Can I ask Alderman Barr to repeat his question, please? The volume's not very good here.
Yes, go ahead, Alderman Barr.
No problem, Madam Lord Mayor. Thank you for letting me back in. Yeah, it's just really it's regarding the task and finish working group. Will the remit of this only include the official VE Day 80 programme, or will it be more encompassing? Because we have teachers here who could also feed into it. We have local, we have factory workers, we have women, we have the home front, we have land army volunteers, civil defence teams that also should be included within it. And it's just really wondering, is it only for the programme, or does it encompass everything?
Okay, thank you, Lord Mayor, and thank you, Alderman Barr, for that. I mean, whenever the working group is first called together, I hope that we won't be prescriptive and we'll be able to sit down and work out an agenda and terms of reference and take it from there. But we want something that will work for everyone in our society, whether it's nationally or on the ground locally, those that have memories of the occasion or whatever, but happy to incorporate that. Is that okay? Do you want me to wind up, Lord Mayor?
Just bear with me a wee second, sorry.
Okay.
Alderman Barr, are you happy with that response?
Yes, Madam Lord Mayor, yes, thank you. It's just because we have so much more to be able to say, be able to do, as Councillor Lovey explained there. We've all the wee local stories that need to come out with art. All that can come out, and I'm glad that it can be incorporated within the working group rather than being restrictive. Thank you, Councillor or Alderman Moutry.
Alderman Moutry, can I pass you to Wayne again, please?
Okay, thank you again, Lord Mayor. Can I thank everyone for their support in relation to this motion? The Borough will, I hope, have the opportunity in May to mark this landmark anniversary in a very fitting way. And I think it's important to remember that while many died, we must remember their sacrifice. It's an onus on us to move forward with future generations. Hopefully that wars like this can be avoided if possible. Thank you.
Alderman Moutry, members, are we all agreed? I don't see any lights on. Thank you. Okay, then, members, we are going to move to 9.2, and I'm going to get Councillor Johnson to take us through this one, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Members, this motion is about recognising a section of our community that is often overlooked. People, whether children, teenagers or adults, who are care experienced do not usually seek help, as many feel that they have had to be self-sufficient all their lives, and therefore asking for help or guidance can be a difficult thing for them to do. As of 31st of March 2024, according to the Department of Health, 3,999 children and young people were in care in Northern Ireland. This was the highest number recorded, and 676 of those young people were from the Southern Trust area. Having worked with young people who are care experienced and care leavers, I know that they often want to find their own way in their lives, and for some of them, accepting help or free gifts as they navigate their educational journey, for example, can be disconcerting. but done in the right manner can make a real difference to their lives. Many of those with care experience face challenging issues, and for some, the stigma and misconceptions of being in the care system can prevent them from talking about their lived experiences, which only serves to further marginalise them. That is why I brought this motion this evening to enable ABC Council, with member support, to plant a tree in a public space in honour of those with lived experience of the care system, in recognition of Care Day 2025 on 21st of February. As many of us will know, Care Day in the UK and Ireland is a joint initiative across 5 children's rights charities and led in Northern Ireland by Voice of Young People in Care. VoiPic is a fantastic charity that provides so much support to those with lived care experience. And with the 10th anniversary of Care Day next year, this is an opportunity for us to send a positive message that we are here to listen to those with care experience and want to recognise a community that too often is overlooked. I know that ABC Council supported VoiPic in the past through, for example, the Lord Mayor's inviting care experienced young people at VoiPic in for breakfast during Care Week. These small gestures can go a long way for many in this community. And I want our council to play a continued part in the support for people with lived experience of the care system, and I believe this motion will help us to do this. So thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Next, I'm going to bring in Councillor Lavery, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and just want to second this motion, just to give members a bit more of a background. The Voice of Young People in Care charity plays such a pivotal role in helping support people with lived care experience. Created in 1993 by a group of young people in care and the professionals that supported them, VoiPic has over 30 years' experience promoting the rights and voice of children in care and care leavers. They work to ensure every child in care feels safe, valued and loved, and that every young person leaving care does so with dignity and respect and thrives into adulthood. I want to commend them on their work to date and wish them well as they continue every day to help shape the lives of those with care experience. By supporting our ask to plant a tree in honour of those with lived experience of the care system, we can help them mark the 10th Care Day in a meaningful way. I think that this act will send out a positive message from this council to a community which is so often overlooked. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lavery. Next, I'm going to bring in Councillor Flaherty, please.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor. Look, I think I speak for my group. We have no issue supporting this motion. We've no issue at all supporting this charity, as we always do and always have done. As has been indicated, Council does recognise what is a very, very important day for this group, Care Day. We do so every year with the young people in different ways every year, with an event of a different type hosted every year by the Lord Mayor of the day. I remember doing so myself. That will be back in 2019, which feels like another life now, but it'll be your so turn soon, Lord Mayor. So for this important milestone, I'm sure that yourself, Lord Mayor, and your office will be more than happy to progress this request.
I'll be happy to do so, Councillor Flaherty. Members, I don't see any other lights on. I'm going to pass back then to Councillor Johnson to wind, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and thank you, members, for the support, and to yourself, Lord Mayor. I'm sure you will be recognising it in the right way come next February, and I think we're all on the same page that we do want to help provide support to VoiPic in whatever way we can, and we're keen to mark Care Day, so I think that sends out a really positive message this evening, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Members, are we all agreed? No hands up, so that's a good sign. Thank you. Okay, members, we're about to move into confidential business. Can I have a proposer and seconder to go into committee for consideration of the confidential items of business? Proposed by Councillor Scott Armstrong. And can I get a seconder? Councillor Kate Evans. Thank you very much. Members and listeners to the audio feed in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act, we will now be moving into a confidential session of the Council. This means that we will be turning off the public audio feed of the meeting. This will be returned when the meeting is restarted. Can I ask the ICT officers in the room to please turn off the audio feed and confirm with me when the confidential section of this meeting can proceed, please? And it just indicated in the room that is the case. Can I have a proposer and seconder to adopt the decisions taken in committee, please? Proposed by Councillor Hare, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Evans. Okay, members, that brings us into our AOB, and firstly, I'm going to bring in Councillor Flaherty, please. Oh, apologies, Councillor McClellan, are you looking to come in first? Oh, okay, apologies, Councillor Flaherty.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Yes, and thanks for accepting my request again this month. I just want to start by saying some of you may be aware of the press coverage, because last week was a very, very significant week as we move into the second year now of the cervical screening review. 2 reports were published last week to great fanfare, but with that fanfare we found more questions and fewer answers. The findings of these reports are deeply troubling, to say the least, highlighting systemic failures that have had profound consequences for women and their families. Having been closely involved with the Ladies with Letters and their campaign for answers for over a year now, I see the personal distress that this is still causing. I feel this also personally, as my own mother is a lady with the letter and needs her own answers. It is unforgivable that 8 women whose cytology smears were misread later developed cancer. It is unforgivable that women put their trust in a service and they have been failed. But for 2 families, this latest milestone in this scandal will hit particularly hard in the lead up to Christmas without their own beautiful ladies. And I also know that feeling of an empty chair. Cervical screening is a cornerstone of a woman's preventative healthcare, and any breakdown in this service is unacceptable. For the women and families affected, this is not about reports, it's about their lives. And it has been very difficult to see this broken down into bare statistics. These women are all so much more than that. They are wives, mothers, sisters and daughters. They deserve answers, they deserve accountability, and they need support to rebuild trust in the system. We now have clear acknowledgement of systemic failures, but will anyone be held accountable for these failings that were allowed to persist over 13 years? Amongst all the statistics is a glaring omission which must be addressed. In all the paralysis by analysis, there is still no answer as to who is going to be held accountable for a persistent failure to tackle underperformance by some cervical screening staff. The Health Trust is clearly examining itself, but who is doing a health trust on what the PHA did or didn't do over the 13-year period in question? This is a wake-up call, folks, for the entire healthcare sector. We must ensure that lessons are learned and that every woman feels confident in attending her screenings, knowing she will receive the highest standard of care. I stand with the Ladies with Letters in their mission to ensure that every woman can have confidence in the healthcare service they rely on, and this council agreed to support them as a whole just last month. I remain committed to supporting their cause and advocating for the improvements and reassurances they have rightly demanded. The work continues. These reports tell us that in black and white. I personally believe that, along with others, we need to be sending out a united call for a statutory public inquiry. But at this stage, all that we can do as a council is to recall the Health Working Committee, get the statutory agencies and stakeholders around the table and get as much information from them as we can. So I make that a proposal, Lord Mayor. A failing of this magnitude must never be allowed to happen again. Women deserve so much better than this. Thank you, Lord Mayor, for your time.
Thank you. Councillor Flaherty, do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Evans, bring you in.
Yeah, thank you, Lord Mayor. I'm just happy to second that proposal.
And thank you, members. Are we all agreed? Okay, thank you, members. Next, I'm going to bring in Councillor Nelson, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Lord Mayor, this has been a very busy meeting, but there is one very important question that I have been asked to ask you this evening, if you would indulge me. With Santa and his reindeer due to arrive next week, can you just confirm, Lord Mayor, that his office has been in touch to seek permission to enter our borough, and that the boys and girls of our borough are all proceeding towards the nice list. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Nelson, for your very important question, and I'm glad you've raised this here tonight. I'm pleased to report that we've had an update from the North Pole just this morning. Santa and his team of elves are in full swing with preparations, ensuring everything is on track for Christmas. They ensure members that the reindeer are in top form after their training runs, and the sleigh has passed its annual safety inspection with flying colours. Jonathan Hayes will be glad to know. Santa did, however, mention that he's keeping a close eye on the naughty and the nice list, and I've been told that a few councillors have a bit of work to do to ensure that they make it off the naughty list in time. There's still time to turn it all around. Rest assured, our borough is ready to welcome Santa and spread the festive cheer. Let's all stay on our best behaviour as we count down to the big day. Thank you, Councillor Nelson. Members, before we conclude tonight, I want to thank, apologies, Councillor Thomas O'Hanlon, please.
I think I was just going to ask, Councillor Nelson talked about people being on the naughtiness and the naughty list and the nice list. I wonder, had she an insight into which members in the chamber were deemed on which list? I would respectfully hope that I'm not on the nice list, because if that's the case, we're not doing our job.
Councillor O'Hanlon, as I said, there's still time to turn it all around. Okay, and members, before we conclude tonight, I want to thank both officers and members personally for the cross-party support in my first 6 months in my role. Thank you for the kind words of encouragement and for all your patience while I find my feet. It really does mean so much. I pledged to be a mayor for all back in June, and I hope I've demonstrated that in my time so far. Members, that concludes the full council meeting. I would like to take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy Christmas and a very peaceful new year. Thank you.